Hi everyone, welcome back to Podtail Podcast. My name is Kimani Wanjiru and I'm your host for today's episode. Today I'm joined by Shiko and Shiko. I'm going to let them tell us about themselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Shiko aka Ashley. I am a singer, songwriter, producer, I make beats, I'm a sound engineer, and I am very happy to be here today.
Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Wanjiku. Yeah, I mostly go by the name Wanjiku. People get surprised to hear naitwa Lea, so I'm Lea Wanjiku. Yeah, I'm a mother, a sister, and a daughter. I think that's an easy way to summarize who I am. And yeah, a love of life. I think that's it about me today.
Sawa. Okay, so today's episode, we're going to talk about the silent battle, intrusive thoughts, and how to deal with them. So, to start our conversation, what are intrusive thoughts and how are they different from the normal worries and concerns of our daily lives?
Okay, so I think and I believe that intrusive thoughts are usually like these unnecessary or unwanted thoughts that creep up in our minds, especially when we are not prepared for them. They are usually like not the normal thoughts that we usually have, and they are not like they go against our values as human beings. So most of them are thoughts that usually want us to do things that are not really okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they can really mess up our normal daily routines, in a sense that when you constantly think about those things, first you can even get anxiety a lot, and sometimes you can even succumb to the intrusive thoughts and end up doing those things, and they can really get you into trouble at the end of the day. Yeah.
Do you want to add on it?
Yeah, okay, so intrusive thoughts are usually they're involuntary. Like it's not something that you think on a daily, but once you have the problem is once you have that idea, it can keep
Yeah.
coming back. Now it becomes an obsessive. So,
Mm.
so people struggle a lot with that.
Mhm.
And the thing is, intrusive thoughts, it's something normal.
Yeah.
Like people should just accept, like, hey, enyewe my thoughts saizi kuna vile zimechange njia hivi,
Mhm.
and now find ways in how to tackle it, how to deal with them and live with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not something that you overcome overnight.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And apart from thoughts, it can also be images. Can
Yeah.
get some distressing images. See, just thoughts. They can also be images.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are some of the common triggers of intrusive thoughts? Like, how do you get there?
Um, I can say PTSD. Like, for example, if you went through a traumatic experience, right? I can say the example of like an accident, and you probably got injured or even witnessed people dying and getting injured. Now you'll probably be having like these thoughts and recurring, having those that accident constantly replaying in your mind, and it can even cause you to have depression, anxiety. It can even stress you out if you do not like seek therapy, so that you can get over those constant thoughts. So yeah, for one, I can say PTSD. Yeah.
So okay, to add on that, yeah, PTSD is majorly, I can say majorly the cause of intrusive thoughts. But also mental disease like OCD.
Yeah,
OCD, most especially OCD. OCD will push you so much into having intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
And people keep fighting these things.
Yeah.
Like alafu pia okay, on the OCD part,
Yeah.
most people think OCD ni ile tu usafi, ile tunapenda vitu zipangwe hivi.
Yeah.
But OCD goes beyond that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and people need to understand like kuna very close relationship between OCD and intrusive thoughts.
Yeah, so OCD and intrusive thoughts, venye amesema, many people just think OCD is about wanting things to be in a particular order, blah blah blah, but OCD is more than that. OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder. That means kuna an obsession and a compulsion. So
Yeah.
the obsession is, it could be the thought,
Yeah.
and the compulsion is what you do to
The action.
suit yourself, the action. So say you get say you're obsessed with, you have cleanliness OCD, you unaogopa uchafu. The obsession is, if I get dirty, I will get sick. So the compulsion hapo itakuwa someone constantly washing their hands. Utapata huyu mtu anaosha mikono yake so many times, like even 100 times a day, because of the OCD. And so with also OCD, there's a type of OCD that's called pure O. Like the obsessions and the compulsions are mental. So unaona, the compulsions are not something that's physical kama ya kuosha mkono. The compulsion is the recurring thought loop. And that's where intrusive thoughts come in. That recurring thought loop becomes the OCD. That's why it's called pure O. So people who have anxiety and vinyalsema PTSD are more likely to experience intrusive thoughts. And it's not only those people, even without anxiety and PTSD and OCD, you can have intrusive thoughts. Yeah. But for most people who experience them, it's tied to OCD, anxiety, and PTSD.
PTSD,
Yeah. So the next, now that we've talked about the common triggers, also I'd like to add biological shifts and hormone shifts. For example, a mother giving birth can make someone have intrusive thoughts because there's a lot of hormones that are changing in someone's body inaleta hizo vitu zote.
Yeah.
And I've even heard of some mothers.
Mhm.
I've heard of stories of some mothers who undergo postmortem depression, right?
Yeah.
And then they actually have these intrusive thoughts of literally wanting to kill their own children.
Yeah, to suffocate their kids.
Yeah, to like suffocate it, that drowning them, suffocate them using a pillow.
Yeah.
Why? Because of the depression now. Because they feel like, because of the hormonal changes now.
In the body.
Now they feel like it's a bit overwhelming, especially first time moms, and they feel they're alone. People are not understanding them.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we should, like maybe as a society or close family and friends, try to intervene, assist them wherever we can, because I've had this story so many times of first time moms, or even like just moms in general, saying things like this, and it can be a bit scary.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
scary, yes. But now it happens. It happens. You know, most people forget mothers after they give birth. They don't like check on them that much. You know, people get excited about the kid and they forget the mother. So it becomes so tiring to them. Okay, as a mom, I have that experience because now, so it's a first time experience. Now you have a whole baby you have to take care of. This baby is here constantly crying. Maybe sometimes you don't have milk. Now you're confused, like what's happening. No, they can't talk.
Yeah.
So they're crying, you tired, like kuna ile fatigue mtu ukuwa nayo. So, and that's why the way you've said that the society has to come in and help mothers how they can. It plays a big role. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So our next question was supposed to be how conditions like anxiety and PTSD tie into intrusive thoughts. And I think you already talked about when you have PTSD, you keep reliving the same thing again.
Experience.
Okay, so how can intrusive thoughts impact daily life and relationships and mental health?
I think that when we are having those intrusive thoughts, we tend to self-isolate a lot.
Yeah.
And therefore, when we self-isolate, first of all, they become worse. Second of all, our relationships go down with our friends, our significant others, our loved ones, because it kind of makes you feel alone. It makes you feel like you don't know how to open up to people. They might judge you.
Yeah, they might not
They might
understand.
judge. They might judge you. They might feel or think that you are weird or you are going crazy.
Yeah.
And in that sense, it definitely will make you start self-isolating from people. And the problem is now it will even worsen, and it might even trigger you to do something about it. Yeah.
Okay, so I think with the intrusive thoughts, it truly affects and derails your daily routines and
Yeah.
how you function on a daily.
Yeah.
Because you find like an example of an intrusive thought is maybe when you're cleaning, unaosha vyombo hivi, alafu now there now you're thinking to yourself, ama nijidunge, ama nijikate, you see? So you find like unajipata now you don't want to do anything to do with cleaning, doing utensils. So you know you in that loop whereby maybe you have like it affects your mental because now you have a pile of utensils because yes you want to clean them but again there is a battle in you that you're fighting. Na nikishika kisu nijidunge. Now also what she said about isolation, you find yourself isolating from people because now you find yourself like you feel like you're harmful to others, like you don't mean to, but now there is that thought in you, planted in you, now that makes you not interact with people as much. You isolate and now you might fall into depression.
It's true.
And falling into depression now worsens the intrusive thoughts. Yeah.
I'd also say another impact of having intrusive thoughts is umesema avoiding people, avoiding to do tasks. I think it also can make you lose your self-worth because you can start feeling like I'm a bad person because I'm having this type of thoughts. I'm not supposed to have this type of thoughts. So it makes someone feel bad about themselves when I lose your self-worth. So before we move on, I'd like to ask you two if you've ever experienced intrusive thoughts. Tusikwe tunaongelea vitu watu relate nazo.
Yes, I have. I personally have experienced them several times. I'd say there was a time in my life I was very broke. And it was during the times that I was hearing a lot on social media that people are getting into the wash business. So I was having thoughts and I was asking myself. So, and I think it was there was this very famous blogger called Edgo Bare, and he was exposing these people on his Instagram. And I remember asking myself, so do I like go and DM these people directly? And I remember I DM'd one of them, but I never got any response.
Oh, they didn't reply.
They didn't reply. But then again, I went back and I was like, no, I don't think I want that lifestyle. Because then again, it's a bit dangerous. It's like it's the same lifestyle as the drug lords and the likes of Pablo Escobar. The problem with such lifestyles is it's very high risk. The moment anything goes wrong, literally you'll get taken out. Like even if it's just a bad rumor about you and that they doubt you or they've lost trust in you, they take you out because it's something which is very secretive and it's amongst specific groups of people. Therefore, if you just make any wrong move,
it's over for you.
It's over. But for me, I was like, I want to be a risk taker. But then again, I began thinking about now the risks involved, and I was like, no,
not worth it.
No. Yeah, I'm not ready for that.
Okay, I think mine, my most recurring intrusive thought inakwaga ile ya kutaka kuvuka barabara alafu unaona ama nisimame hapa katikati. Most especially you see Zion Mall. Hiyo highway hapo hivyo, especially ukivuka going to Zion Mall. I'm there like, what would happen nikisimama hapa katikati? What would happen? But then most of the times hadi wanajipata tumeangaliana hivi na driver. Zile za nikugonge tuone.
That's an intrusive thought.
You know, like wanting to see what will happen.
That's it, you may prompt in a pop.
In a pop too, like in that moment. Ama time uko kwa maybe in a building, uko hivyo juu unaenda kwa balcony and you're like
na nikiruka
kanaija kanaija
nime experience hiyo like nikiwa mahali hata si balcony, like on a building. I don't know if it's the fear of heights, like una feel inakuvuta and then you're like then you're like no
let me not.
Yeah, it pops up in my mind
Eh,
as well. Yeah.
yeah.
For me,
Mhm.
because this topic is like very sensitive kwangu, because I deal with this a lot. It's let me get vulnerable, Kiasi.
Mhm.
There's this day we were at my classmates' father's funeral,
Mhm.
and unajua tu the mood ya funeral venye iko,
Yeah.
wanazika watu, and so during the service I could not stop having a picture of myself inside
A
a
coffin.
cask.
A cask.
That was the picture that was in my head the whole time. Hadi I find myself shaking my head kabisa. Hadi
Like
my
no,
yeah,
fighting
like
it
no, yeah.
now.
My friend mwenye alikuwa amekaa kando yangu, I think she noticed I was shaking my head sana. She held my hand akaniuliza uko sawa, nikamwambia yeah niko sawa, unaona. So those are like types of intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
I just wanted us to give examples so that people can understand and can relate to what we are talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so next we are going to talk about some of the misconceptions around intrusive thoughts. I want you guys to share with me what are some misconceptions about intrusive thoughts.
Okay. So I think the one that I've had a lot, or I have seen a lot of people mentioning, it's like someone is going crazy, or it's like maybe a mental disorder,
Yeah.
of which I don't think it's a mental disorder personally.
Yeah, it's not.
It
not.
really
Yeah, it's
isn't.
not. It's not.
So I think awareness should be created about this, and people should know the difference between like a mental disorder and intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
I also understand that it could be genetic, and then there's people who are also like perfectionists.
Yeah, yeah.
They tend to also like suffer a lot because they have this obsessive and want to have things to be perfectly the way they want.
That way, yeah.
And if it doesn't really go the way they want, they get really, really, really obsessive about it. Therefore, I think people should try and research about it before like maybe judging someone. I think because the stigma is like the stigma on anything to do with mental health
Yeah.
is really there in our society. And when we stop having it to be a stigma, it's people will be more free and more comfortable to open up
Yeah, to
about
talk
it.
about it.
Yeah.
Another misconception.
I think another misconception is that people tend to think these are evil thoughts.
Yeah.
Like, and thoughts that you're not supposed to have. Like,
Yeah.
they tend to shun it away. Like, why are you thinking about that? Why are you thinking like that? Yet, this is something that it just occurs. Like, even when you're not expecting it, because they're unwanted thoughts.
They're unwanted.
Yeah, so people tend to think, as she has said, this person is going crazy.
Yeah.
This person is losing their mind, because why would you think like that? Why would you let your mind go in that direction? So I think people should accept as what she has said, and stop the stigmatization around intrusive thoughts, and also be vocal.
Be vocal.
Yeah, be vocal about them. So it helps.
Okay. Another misconception, there's this something called thought action fusion. So for thought action fusion, it has two ways of looking at it. The first way is if you think so much about something bad, it's likely to happen.
Yeah.
Kama venye ulisema, the way you have that intrusive thought ya kusoma katikati ya barabara. So with thought action fusion is ukifikiria hivyo sana utajipata siku moja umesimama.
Yeah, true.
That's a misconception. It really isn't like that.
Yeah, because they're just thoughts.
They're just thoughts, exactly. Another thing with thought action fusion is thinking about these bad thoughts makes you a bad person. That's a misconception. So you're not evil.
Yeah, you're not evil.
You're not an evil person. It's just thoughts that
they're not facts.
And they're not facts.
Yeah,
it's just
just
thoughts.
Just a thought.
And another misconception is if you have repetitive thoughts, it means that they're important, and they're not important.
They're not. Yeah,
it's
true.
just thoughts,
just
as you talked about it. Okay. So let's talk about how mindfulness and meditation can help with intrusive thoughts.
So for me, my definition of like mindfulness and meditation, when we are meditating, we try to first of all understand and acknowledge our thoughts,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So for me, in the past, I used to think meditation is silencing your thoughts. I really used to think that that's how meditation works until I came to learn that it's not really about silencing your thoughts. It's about taking the time to acknowledge that thought.
Yeah.
If it's that thought of let's say for example wanting to going like that in the middle of the road, and then you acknowledge the fact that okay, so this is happening, I'm here, I'm in the middle of the road, there's this guy here, and there's this thought that came and crept up in my mind that told me to come and stand here.
Yeah.
Right? So first of all, when we come to acknowledge it, we 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 give it okay, not per se giving it power, but we give it the acknowledgement in a sense of when we try to resist it, it's when the urges will actually become worse. So we should never like try and resist them. We acknowledge them, and then it's like having a self a monologue, like an internal conversation with yourself, right? So you're like there and you're asking yourself, do you really want this to happen? Do you want to get run over by this car?
Yeah.
You could die, you could become permanently paralyzed. There will be grief, there will be loss in your family, your mom, your dad, your siblings. You know, even the other person might probably get sued by your parents. I mean, a lot will happen. Yeah. So when you start like having those monologues within yourself, it will also like help for you to not just focus on getting hit or getting run over, sorry, but it will also help to distract your mind from that thought, but also focus on the solution and something that will help you, not per se just focusing on that activity. Yeah, that's what I think.
What I'm getting from you is the role of meditation is not to suppress our thoughts.
Yeah.
It's the role of meditation is to change our relationship with those thoughts. Yeah.
Okay, so I think mine will be on meditation. So I think meditation helps you to think through your intrusive thoughts and explore them. Like you don't now surpass them, but now it's here. How am I going to deal with this? I'm not going to hide these thoughts in me, but now I'm gonna to explore it. And as she has said, now you will now start to figure, okay, I have these thoughts. If I do this, what will happen?
Exactly.
How many people will be affected?
Yeah.
I think thinking about it through those lenses, it helps you be at peace with your intrusive thoughts, because you have to be at peace with your intrusive thoughts. Because if you fight them, the more you fight them, they fight you back.
Exactly.
Yeah. So meditating and being mindful about them helps you to just understand the thoughts more.
Yeah.
Like not just as a thought, okay, you know, like that one you're stabbing yourself. You know, it's just like, yeah, I can just stab yourself. But now if I stab myself, what
will
now?
happen?
What will happen?
Yeah.
So it's just exploring the thoughts that you're having.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Mindfulness is being consciously aware of something, Cindy.
Yeah.
So I think with intrusive thoughts, mindfulness just brings you to the present moment. It's just a thought. I want to stab myself, but I'm not going to do it because consequences, both of you have talked about it.
Yeah.
Cindy. Okay, so on that note, let's talk about self-compassion and how self-compassion helps with intrusive thoughts.
Self-compassion helps a lot, because now this is within. You're not like looking for it outside there. It comes from within. And I believe that one of the ways that can really help with self-compassion is journaling. Because one thing I understand about journaling, it also helps to even understand your thoughts. That is also like something which it is very important, and something that I believe we as human beings should try and explore. Right? So when, for example, you take that pen and write on that piece of paper and say, okay, so I'm thinking about stabbing myself, right? Why do I want to stab myself? Maybe I'm going through certain type of pain. You know, it could be breakup. You know, we've had these stories of people breaking up,
Yeah.
they end up stabbing themselves
Mm.
or even stabbing their significant others.
Yeah.
So you're like, they are writing like, okay, I want to stab myself or stab this person. What might happen? I might die. And that's literally permanent. There is no coming back from death.
Yeah.
Right? And probably you don't want to die. You just don't know how to get rid of that pain that you're feeling at that moment or how to deal with it. But now, when you start writing, you start internalizing it, you start processing it slowly by slowly, and you'll find yourself feeling so much better. And maybe like this huge baggage has been lifted off your shoulders. Why? The psychology behind that, I still, maybe you guys can explain, but I personally feel like it's really nice to journal. It really helps you to process your thoughts. It also even helps you to solve problems, to understand better. I think that's why we would write down. In school, we were taught to write down and take short notes because it helps you understand better whatever it is you're writing about. So for me, I believe that journaling is a form of self-compassion. Yeah.
So on self-compassion, I think that's usually mostly extending grace to yourself.
Yeah.
And as it says, self. Now this is you against you and understanding yourself. Extending extending the grace to yourself in terms of like understanding, like I'm human.
Yeah, you're human.
Like I'm human. I exist in this form.
Yeah.
And as a person, I have these characteristics, I have these thoughts, I move like this. So understanding yourself and extending the self-compassion to yourself, it helps you deal with the intrusive thoughts. Like understanding, I'm not a bad person.
Yeah.
This is just a thought that's attacking me, and it's not fact.
Yeah, it's not fact.
Yeah, it's not like I'll wake up and just go climb a building and go jump off. No, it's just like a thought to ile ya kupita. And not do okay, now understanding yourself and also not dwelling in that though in those thoughts, like no making that your characteristics, because most of the time intrusive thoughts are usually the opposite of who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Most understanding that it's the opposite, like I'm not this person.
Yeah.
This is just a thought, and I'm not going to dwell in this thought. I'm not going to be this person. I, as Wanjiku, I exist as this. I'm a good person, and I won't go around stabbing people. I won't go around seeing a tall building and thinking, I'm nipande uko juu mbio mbio saizi. Yeah, so I think extending the grace to yourself. Most people don't understand themselves.
Exactly.
Like they don't sit with themselves. People just tend to have the idea of
who you are,
of who they are. And I think, as she has said, journaling will help that. Also, things like connecting with nature, that helps a lot.
Yeah.
And also having alone time.
Yeah,
Having alone time helps you understand yourself so much. And by understanding yourself, it will also help you understand which areas should I work on, which areas should I improve on. Yeah.
So self-compassion is basically extending grace to yourself, and self-awareness really comes into play with self-compassion. Have any of you guys read a book called Turtles All the Way Down or watched the movie?
No, not really.
Okay, so also for our viewers, Turtles All the Way Down is a book by John Green. It talks about a girl called Eza. Eza suffered from OCD, and she was experiencing intrusive thoughts a lot. And for her, she used to think that her whole body is made of bacteria. So her intrusive thoughts were like, one day the bacteria will colonize her whole body, and she might get sick. She might get sick because of all the bacteria in her body. And she had a wound on her finger. So every time she'd get her intrusive thoughts about the bacteria, she'd go quickly to wash her wound and change the bandage. It goes on and on and on. And there's a time she was admitted in hospital. And when she was in hospital, she started having those thoughts again of, I have a lot of bacteria in my body. And she drank sanitizer. Yeah. She drank sanitizer.
Wow.
You should, if you really want to understand OCD, read that book. So yeah, I was thinking about that when you were talking.
Okay.
But then what really helped her was therapy. She was in therapy. And there's a form of therapy called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. So that's what you're going to talk about next. what is the role of CBT in helping with intrusive thoughts? Yeah.
Sorry. You said cognitive.
Behavioral therapy. CBT.
Okay. Okay, maybe if you
Or let me talk
yeah,
about, okay.
a
So
little bit.
CBT is a type of therapy that deals with it goes with three things: your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. So what CBT is all about, how you think influences your feelings, influences your actions. Yeah. So essentially it's like if you think better, you'll feel better and you'll do better things. So when you have intrusive thoughts, just like we've just been talking about how they're just thoughts,
Thoughts, yeah.
you should learn how to treat intrusive thoughts like ads. I usually
Yeah,
like to
skip.
call them brain ads. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like ukikoka site uone ad hapo si uta skip
Skip,
ad.
yeah.
Yeah, so skip ad. So that's CBT.
Mhm.
That's what CBT.
Okay. Um, what I've come to understand from your definition or from explanation is that our thoughts definitely affect our emotions and our actions, right? So most times the intrusive thoughts are usually negative.
Yeah.
So I think that we should try or maybe even like teach the people who are going through this not to like dismiss the thoughts but to divert. So one thing that I came to learn, um I saw this person speaking, and he said that when you are having any negative thoughts in your mind, first of all sit back, take in like long deep breaths, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like for instance, you can say you breathe in, you count 4 seconds, right? So you breathe in, you count 4 seconds when you stay with your breath, and then you breathe out, and then you recover, you do that again. Secondly, identify 5 things around you.
5 things, yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
grounds you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like for instance, I can say one is this microphone, two is my phone, three is you,
Yeah.
four is your notebook,
Yeah.
five is her.
Yeah.
Right? So those are 5 things I've identified.
Yeah.
So that will do is it will divert your thoughts. It will go now from now the negative intrusive thoughts to now grounding you to at least better thoughts,
Yeah.
and identifying where you are mentally and even physically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ground you. Yeah.
Okay, I think CBT goes together with OCD.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like okay, CBT is like the therapy for OCD.
And many other anxiety
Yeah, and
disorders.
many other anxieties. So with CBT helps so much, especially with people with OCD, because OCD forces you to perfection.
Exactly.
Like I must do something in this certain way, and getting into this therapy session helps you calm your way, because you know some people don't have those self conversation with themselves.
Yeah.
Like it's so like you find someone finds it harder to convince themselves to do something, but I'll find it easy if you tell me, by the way, you can do this and this in order to figure this out. But if I tell myself, I'm like, I'm the same person having these thoughts.
Yeah.
How am I now? How will I also solve this? But once like Shira niambie, hey, by the way, you can work on this and this, itakusaidia hivi, and tunaona yenyewe it's from her own perspective, so this will actually work. Yeah.
So with CBT, you have to reevaluate that what it means to have those thoughts, like venye tu umesema. Then tumekuwa tukisema we should practice recognizing thoughts as just thoughts. And then another thing is reduce the problematic behaviors associated with those thoughts.
Yeah.
Like tuseme venye you are talking about hautaki kuosha vyombo, do you feel like you want to stab yourself, so
Yeah.
hautaosha vyombo. Avoiding is a problematic behavior associated with that thought, so avoid we osha tu vyombo knowing that hautafanya hivyo. Yeah, and then it's just important to sit with those thoughts, accept them, na ukubali tu ziko, don't fight them. Yeah.
Because when you fight them, they start fighting you back.
Exactly.
So inakuwa ngumu.
Yeah. So the next thing we're going to talk about is what are some habits or strategies that we can use to help us manage these intrusive thoughts, because tumesema zitaenda, it's just managing them. So we can say a few habits that can help us to, like, things we haven't talked about, because we already talked about journaling and practicing self-compassion. So other habits aside from that that can help us.
I'd say exercising.
Yeah.
Exercise is a very good form of therapy.
Yeah, true.
It helps you to remove stress.
Yeah.
It helps you to relax also.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, I might not look like I exercise, but
We take your word for it.
please take my word. I promise I exercise. And it reached a point whereby whenever I would feel stressed, I would go and exercise.
Yeah, it
and
helps so
just
much.
breaking that sweat, even if it's very, very minimal sweat.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for 30 minutes. I really, 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 I really enjoy it. At first, I hated it. I won't lie. I really hated it at first because I was getting tired. And then the first times, like, your body is so, like, your joints.
Muscles
Yeah.
get used to.
So, but when you start getting used to it, it's very therapeutic. Your mood literally changes
and improves.
Yeah.
For the better.
So I think that's why even, like, even when you go and Google how to, like, deal with maybe stress or depression,
exercise is
anxiety,
usually up
you'll
there.
find that. So for me, it's exercise.
I think I'd like to add with connecting with nature.
Yeah,
Connecting with nature. That usually helps. Taking walks, like going by the river. Personally, I love water bodies so much.
They're very
So much. Very. Kwanza the sound of river ikiflow, alafu ikuwe maybe kuna place kuna fall hivi, the gush and all that. It's so healing and it helps you understand, like, outside my thoughts, the world exists and it's a beautiful place to live in. So that helps. Also, initially we said changing hormones makes people. So I think eating, because hormones, most of the time, hormones is what you consume, what you feed your body. So watching out on what you eat and which meals trigger certain hormones in your body, which makes you have these thoughts. So checking your diets. You know, I don't know why people don't check their diets, sana. Like, if there is something you're supposed to do so much in this life, is checking on your diet, what you consume, because most of the time you are what you consume. So even in diet, even it's not just food, even on social media, the posts you engage with, the people you follow, it plays a very, very big role in the intrusive thoughts, fighting them, dealing with them, and understanding them.
I'd like to add another habit that you can practice is not engaging with those thoughts. Like tumesema, it's like an ad. Cancel
just
the ad.
skip.
Don't ikikuja imekuja,
skip.
sawa, skip. So say someone is driving and then they get an intrusive thought,
overspeed,
gonga mtu, don't engage with that thought. So to conclude, I want you guys to give advice. Say there's someone who's experiencing intrusive thoughts right now and they feel like it's overwhelming and they don't know where to seek help. So how can you advise that person? What can they do?
So for me, what I can tell you, if you're probably going through that, first, if you're not able to, like, reach out to maybe your family, your mom, your dad, or your brother or your sister, try to take some time. The things that we've just mentioned, journaling, exercise, meditation, they are really, like, very important. Number 2, try not to self-isolate. Like she's mentioned, try even if it's going out and interacting with nature. That is also like very therapeutic. Like, because sometimes, and not even sometimes, a lot of the times, these bad negative thoughts usually attack us or come to us when we are alone by ourselves. So when you realize your triggers, like that might be your trigger, please try your hardest. Try your hardest, kabisa. Do not be by yourself. If you like, maybe you are living by yourself, or maybe you live with family, your parents, and maybe you are at home, you don't have a job. Try to engage with activities that will make your mind busy. Don't stay at home all day. Don't be on your phone all day.
Yeah.
Try as much as possible to take breaks from social media, because that also really will affect your mental health. Go out with nature. If you have pets, that this is the
It
perfect
also
time.
helps. Yeah.
Yeah, cats,
Playing
dogs.
with them.
Yeah, playing with them is also a very good form of therapy.
Helps. Yeah.
And yeah, and slowly by slowly, I think you'll start understanding. You can do research, Google maybe the techniques of how to deal with it. And then maybe if you are able to seek therapy from a third party,
Yeah.
it's very important.
Yeah.
It's very important for you to seek therapy. Yeah.
I think I may cover most of the things.
Yeah.
So I'd like to give this opportunity for questions from our audience today.
Hi,
Hi.
I'll give my voice.
So
So my question is, sometimes it's not an intrusive thought. What if you do something uh out of mind? Like maybe you're cooking, yeah. Maybe you're cooking, or maybe you're hitting the water for garlic. Then accidentally you pour it on yourself. Then you become cautious of what is going on around you. How can you handle that situation? Number two. Okay, number two. And it's not only about checking on your diet. Some people, when they're having those issues, they tend to go towards junk more because that for me, I stress it a lot.
Same.
That is
same.
how I
stress
cope
it
with my
too.
situations. I love those sweet things compared to living the reality of what is going on.
Yeah.
So you'll answer her first question.
Okay, so there is intrusive thoughts and there is impulsive thoughts, and now there is what has happened, that's an accident because you didn't intend. Like, I'm cooking, maji like inimwagikie, so like it's just acknowledging like, yo, this is just an accident and let me now deal with it. But pardon. So I think I don't think that will be intrusive thoughts per se, but some of PTSD, like maybe you remembered something and got lost in that moment. Yeah, I wouldn't term that as intrusive thoughts. Yeah.
That's like you zoned out how
Eh.
hapo. So it's not an intrusive thought. It's subconsciously something that you did subconsciously. Yeah, sindio? And it's repetitive. So if
So I
it's
think that
becoming
is
repetitive, it's an intrusive thought, but you're not aware of it. So I think what someone should do, you should become mindful. You should become mindful. Ukiona imekuwa repetitive, become mindful and know this is it. So, and also avoid, I know it's so easy to zone out because me hata mi zone out sana. Kwanza ukipika unaweza zone out. So just try to be aware of your environment. I think that will help.
situational awareness.
Your second question.
I think I'm the best person.
Yeah,
Because honestly, I am like you. Stress eating.
I also stress it a lot.
People wonder like, when I'm stressed, I'm not even hungry. How do you stress it? I'm like, I also don't know. But it reached a point that when I would have stress, I will start to desire those snacks, the sugary snacks, especially like cakes, ice cream, chocolates, sweets. I'm zoning out. Nimeanza kufanta. But to me, I came to realize it was a coping mechanism.
Yeah, it is.
It is definitely a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
And honestly, I realized the more I would try to resist,
The more the urges
the more the urges. So I will, like, first of all, I knew that that's if it's a stressful event or something that is stressing me out, this is a habit that I came to adopt over time, right? So I understand, yeah, this is what is stressing me out. So sometimes I would even have stress when I'm on my phone and I'm like, I am broke, but I'm seeing this one is balling and living large. She's on a yacht. She's in Dubai, and then you're there, you cannot even go to coast, or they're in Maldives, and so you're there. So first, and what I'll do, first of all, I will put my phone down, and I'm like, no, no. So those internal dialogues, and I will tell myself. So I am acknowledging the fact that this is happening, but I know that what is happening in my mind is not exactly what is happening. I'm not a
It's not the
failure. Yeah, it's
reality.
not the reality of what
Yeah.
is on the ground. I'm not a failure, of course.
Yeah.
So when you start distracting your mind from the problem to now how to solve it, sometimes even subconsciously, you might be doing something random and then you come up like a solution comes up even without you realizing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
This has happened to me several times.
Mm.
Like I was stressing about something and I'm like, no, no. So I will go maybe write it down, try to find ways, and then I'm like, okay, I'm done with that chapter. I go engage in maybe in a workout, or I go outside and have a walk. Or I go and beat stories with my friends and end up bigger story. So I'll find we are literally having the most random conversation,
Yeah.
and then an idea pops up in my mind.
Mm-mm.
So you can write down if you don't have access to a notebook and pen and paper. You type it on your notes app on your phone.
Yeah.
Literally, that's ever happened to me several times. So for me, I would say try to look for healthy coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
It's so easy. It's so easy to stick to the unhealthy coping mechanisms.
Yeah,
but
people find
please,
it easy to stick
yeah,
to the unhealthy
yeah,
ones.
but the healthy ones are very hard.
Yeah.
And then try to find
because
something.
it's challenging yourself. The healthy ones is challenging
Yeah.
yourself, and people don't like challenging
Exactly.
themselves.
So try and find something that will work well for you,
Yeah.
and then stick to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, escapism is never the answer. The
True,
best
true.
thing to do is to face your problems, sit with it, deal with it, and that's how you get better.
In as much as it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like acknowledging what you're going through, like what caused this, how will I deal with this? It helps so much in dealing with mental issues at large, and even intrusive thoughts. Yeah. And also people, watu waache kujiogopa.
Yeah,
you know, most
so
people don't sit with themselves.
Exactly. Sit with
Like it's
yourself.
so
very true.
yeah, most people don't sit with themselves, and they don't even know themselves. You see? Uh-huh. Exactly. No, that's why I'm saying. Uh-huh.
because they might even kill them.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's why I'm saying, like, allowing to sit with yourself and being aware, being
Yeah.
self-aware will help you deal with this, because you can't always run away from your problems.
Yeah,
And
that's exactly
and running away from yourself, you
And
can't.
then you
Yeah.
even find yourself getting into drugs and alcohol, weed,
Yeah.
cocaine. This is literally how people get into drugs, because they are going through something, a stressful event, and they don't know how to cope with
To
it,
cope with
or
it,
to
yeah.
deal with it.
Yeah.
So it's way better for you to find like healthier coping mechanisms other than the unhealthy ones like the drugs.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
there's something that I was told once: if you suppress something consciously, it comes out subconsciously.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't suppress. That's it. Okay. So let's take a deep breath. This has been a very, very, very intense episode. Yeah, but
Yes.
thank you so much for the insight. I believe our audience have really learnt a lot. Yeah. So you can tell people your social media handle so that they follow you.
So on all socials, it's Ashley Music. So Instagram is Ashley_music. Same to TikTok. My YouTube is Ashley Music. So you'll be able to access all my music, upcoming projects. You'll just get notifications about everything about me. Oh, and memes. I like posting memes. Memes are also a good way of therapy, by the way.
Yeah, because people are funny,
Yeah.
especially Kenyans.
In
Kenyans,
Kenya.
people are so funny and so random. Like, yo, how did you even think about this?
Yeah, I know. And you know when they say laughter is the best medicine, it's honestly
Actually,
true.
it is. Yeah.
So sometimes even I save a lot of memes on my phone.
Mm.
So I just go randomly on my gallery.
Yeah, but then you just go through it.
Yeah.
Tell us yours.
Okay, so I'm Wanjiku on Instagram.
Mhm.
4 underscores Wanjiku, 2 underscores at the end. I think that's where mostly I share about my tiny bits of my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think mnajua yangu by now. It's it's underscore kimani.wanjiru. Okay, so I would like to remind you that we have a really exciting event coming up. Our
Tusikose
fourth
kuja.
anniversary dinner is coming up on the 16th of November 2024. The theme is black tie. Watu wanang'ara vizuri, and it's 2500 Kenya shillings. So keep up with our social media. We are posting inspos on how you can dress. We are posting more about the dinner on our social media. The venue is at Grand Empire Hotel. I can't wait. We can't wait to see you guys. So
Yeah.
this has been a nice episode. We have come to the end of today's episode. Yeah, I think that's all. Bye. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms. Bye, guys.
Thank you for watching.